to today's live. So today we're going to be talking about ancestral trauma and how it can impact you, and specifically in regards to your financial abundance. So we're going to do an Alchemize clearing based around this theme today. So I'm just going to give people a moment to join, and then we are going to jump right in. Okay, so guys, let me know where you're all joining me from today. So as I said, we're going to be talking about, hey Teresa, we're going to be talking about ancestral trauma and how it impacts you, and specifically how it impacts your ability to receive financial prosperity and abundance. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, and then I have a bit of a topic which is on theme with it, which kind of came through to me last night. So first of all, I'm curious to know, what is the hello from Crete? So guys, we're in Crete right now. Teresa's here, but she's outside somewhere listening to me. We've just finished up our retreat here. It was amazing. So hey Simona, welcome. How are you? Good to have you here. So guys, please let me know, what was the traumas that your ancestors went through. This can be any type of traumatic experience. It can be abuse, it can be things like, war, communism, whatever it is. Hello. So just please let me know what it is, and we're gonna start working on that in a moment. Because a lot of the things that our ancestors went through, they do affect us. Their traumas do impact us. They get handed down to us energetically, and they get handed down to us through learned behaviors and habits and what we learn. So what your great-great-grandmother and great-great-grandfather went through, that would have then been taught to your grandparents through habits, messages that are sent to them about life, about money, etc. Then that gets handed down until someone breaks the cycle. So it may not have started with you, but it does affect you. So you're welcome, Teresa. So let me know, what is the traumas that your ancestors went through, and how many of you have noticed that you've gone through something similar? And I'm curious to know what that is. So I'm going to wait for your comments, but in the meantime, I'm going to start to talk a little bit about what came to me last night, which is on theme with this. Okay, so I'm just going to address some comments first. Hey Leila, how are you? Okay, so Irish potato famine, the medicine showed me Romans invaded Irish, took all of their land and enslaved my ancestors. Okay, so then let's look at that for a moment. So if you were to put yourself in your ancestors' shoes, what was the message that was sent to them about themselves, about money, and about life? What was the message sent to them about themselves, about money, and about life? And write that to me in the chat. Hi Angel, I'm well, how are you? Okay, slavery of many kinds. So if you want to be more specific, feel free. Some of it I'm aware of, but feel free to put whatever feels comfortable. But I will ask you to ask those questions. Okay, so if you were to put yourself in their shoes, what message did that send them about themselves, about life, and about money? Let me know. Someone else said through war and survive. So again, if you can answer those questions, the rest of you who just joined, what are the traumas, abuses, etc. that your ancestral, your family line have gone through? So I'm going to come back to these in a moment. I'm going to wait for your responses because they are important. What I wanted to talk to you about that was coming through to me yesterday was about debt, and how we can actually inherit that energy of debt, and then we can also inherit the karmic energy associated with that, and then it can keep us in these karmic loops. So debt can be different things. It can be financial debt. It can be other types of debts where your ancestors have done things that were not the highest and best, and because of that there is a karmic load, and then that gets passed down the line, and then unfortunately, because you're in that bloodline, you get caught in this karmic cycle. So let's start to remove everything that can go. Can we, first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask that all of the debt, whatever type of debt is identified within you, we're going to open up your timelines on all levels, all ages, all parts, all lifetimes, and on the bloodline. And we're going to ask that it is identified. We're going to ask that whatever you need to be aware of, made conscious of, so that you help, because you may have to look at it further to process it through, that is brought into your awareness. That might come now, it might come later. Okay, so there's also, some of you have these vows to carry the karmic load. So if that feels like that might be you, please tell me what, if there was a reason you might have vowed to that on a spirit level or somewhere, sometime, what would the motivation behind that be? Okay, so we're going to just start to resolve as many debts as we can. Cancel, resolve, dissolve, transform, it from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. So if you get any of the specific awarenesses in regards to what are the debts that you have inherited, please let me know. So all vows, oaths, promises, contracts, agreements, obligations, and commitments to carry any debt, known, unknown, conscious, unconscious. I'm also seeing some of this actually is about the here and the now, where some people here on the call, and maybe who will be here later, or on the live I should say, there is a pattern there where there is a tendency to want to fix things, and a pattern of, taking things on. And then within that, what can occur is, if you're doing that with a person or a number of different people, they don't learn their lessons, but then you take on that karmic energy. So then if that sounds like you, what happens if you don't take it on for them? What's your worst fear, belief? So we're going to start to clear it out. We're going to cancel, resolve, dissolve, which is from the source point at all levels of your being, AWS precisely. So there's loads of comments coming through. I'm going to come back to these in a minute. We're just going to stay on this step piece just for a moment. Okay, so we're going to bring in Source's divine truth on what that is really doing for you and what it's really doing for them. And start to release everything that does not allow you to have full clarity. Let's cast a resolve, dissolve. Just wishes you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. Some of it is, there's a sense of they're not capable of being able to manage themselves. So let's find every situation, every idea, every projection, anything that was implanted into you that causes you to see them through that if you were to let go of, would allow you to actually see them from a different level and to see and know and recognize what they are capable of. Let's cast a resolve, dissolve. Just switches you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS. I see. So one comment is, they'll feel bad and become monsters. It's a way to protect myself to take things on. Okay, so then a couple of questions on that. Number one is, what does it mean for them to become monsters? What do they do if they become monsters? And number three is, what age did you decide that you would take the stuff on? It's probably not even a conscious decision, but if you just close your eyes and ask yourself what age, something will come into your awareness. Okay, it feels as though I abandon them. I do not take their karmic debts as if I do not take their karmic debt. So it's a family rule. Okay, interesting. So I would like to know then, what is the family rules? Okay, see what comes through. And if you do not carry and take the debts, you abandon them. So what happens if you abandon them? And what does it mean to abandon them? So let's just bring in clarity and truth on that. And let's ask that all the rules that you're following, known, unknown, conscious, unconscious, energetic, ancestral, that is limiting you, that is a part of the reason that you are carrying karmic debts, energy, heaviness, pain, burdens, and anything else that you are carrying. Let's start to remove those. Revoke, renounce, denounce, cast, resolve, dissolve, just wishes you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS. So I'm seeing a lot of confusion in some of your unconscious minds, where there's not clarity between what is yours and what is theirs. I'm starting to see clarity come in, and I'm seeing some of your energy sorting things out. So you're actually starting to let go of what is not yours. There does seem to be a bit of fear of what happens if you let them take that and carry that for themselves. Let me know what comes up about the rules. So age 2 and 3 and age 4. So what happened at age 2, 3, and what does it mean for them to become monsters, and what do they do if they become monsters? Okay, so debt means freedom. Why? That's another comment. Let's start to clear all of that out. Let's cast a resolve desire to switch you from the source point at all levels of your being, AWS precisely. Okay, let me know what else comes through. If I don't fix it, I waste my potential. How? Another comment is, I will be abused and attacked. Okay? And then, is there a feeling associated with that fear of being abused or attacked? Let me know. So all of the attack and all of the abuse that you are carrying within you, mental, emotional, psychological, energetic, and spiritual, can we identify that? Can we remove all markers? Can we remove all energetic signs, markers, and anything else that is something like an attractor, which is something that seems to be inserted? Can we remove all of that? But can we remove everything that's underneath that caused you to be vulnerable to that in the first place? Can we revoke it, renounce, because the result is I choose which is you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. So all of the ways you guys receive so much attack, that there are expectations to be attacked, and anywhere you're holding on to it because the mind believes it keeps you safe, can we bring in truth and clarity? Can we imprint you, your cells, your body, your DNA, all that you are, with what true safety, what true security, what true freedom is, and that you can have that without holding on to abuse, attack, projections, other people's garbage, insertions, revoke, renounce, because the result is out, just wishes you from the source point on all levels of your being, age of your society. There does seem also to be some holographic insertions, audio and visual, which are things that are designed to keep you in a specific loop, to create fear, and for other purposes, which keep some of you in certain cycles of habits and behaviors, and some of it is unconscious. So can we remove those? Hi Shirley. Can we revoke it, renounce, because a result disastrous, which is you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. So let's just start to lift out old attack. Let's identify it on all levels. Let's clear it out. We're going to bring in 4 divine crystals, one into the third eye area, one into the throat, one into the solar plexus, one into the sacral, that is going to start to clear the debris, the imprints of the attack out and purify it. We're also inviting the spiritual energy of purity to come in and purify. Okay, so the feeling then is, just to go back to the question I asked earlier, what is the feeling associated with attack and abuse? It's out of control, it's shame, and it's horror. So what I'd like you to do is ask your unconscious, is there a memory or an image associated with that, and see if anything comes up. Let me know. So all of the old shame, the old feelings of being out of control, the horror, the terror, and everything that is locked inside you in your body, and anything keeping you looping in that, can we remove that? Can we revoke, renounce, because resolve, dissolve, choose forces you from the source point on all levels of your being, So part then of this taking on, so we were talking about, for those of you who just joined, taking energy on, but specifically it was around, what I was seeing was not allowing people to learn certain lessons and taking it on, and then taking on that karmic debt. So we were looking at the root cause of that. So this is what we're working through, and one of the things was to avoid abuse and attack. So we're just exploring that. So then part of this pattern then, it's trying to control your environment through controlling people or certain people, their reactions, their emotions as a form of protection. That will cause you probably to absorb a lot from your environment. So everything that you have absorbed, any timeline, can we start to let that go? Can we, as a result, desire to switch you on the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. Okay, someone says I'm the load bearer. What does that mean to you, and what does that look like? So, physical abuse, okay? This is some physical abuse, okay? So is there any perceived value in your unconscious mind of holding on to that? Or another question you can ask is, what happens if I let this go? Can we start to identify the imprinting from this? Emotional, biological, psychological, and neurological. Can we start to release that? And can we start to correct and heal what needs to be corrected and healed? Okay, I'm seeing a device now coming out of the center of the brain, which was acting as a control device. So revert, renounce, denounce, cut, resolve, disastrous, which is high Roy, from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. Someone else said shame, frustration, and hate. So the shame and the frustration and the hate, is all of that yours? Is some of that yours? Let me know. Another comment is, I don't know how to live without it. It feels like home. I'm scared I won't be able to check myself because I'll forget about it. That's a common thing that people fear. I'll forget it. What if you can remember without needing to hold on to the imprints and the trauma and the pain and the suffering? Can we show you that that is possible? Can we bring in that you can remember what you need to remember? And can we work on your neurology and your neuron connectors to send a healing there and do all corrections? Can we remove any dark infrastructure in there? And as a result, disastrous, which is upon the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. Sometimes when all you've experienced is attack and abuse and pain, you become hypervigilant and you don't really know another way. And it also affects your brain and the way that it functions. So can we just go in and work on the brain? Can we work on the nervous system? Can we ask that whatever relevant corrections need to be took place, are taken or done? Yes, we're going to correct everything. Okay, showing you the difference between you and the attack and the abuse, and also the symptoms of abuse. Because when we've had abuse, some of the symptoms are feeling worthless, not good enough, feeling, used, anxiety, fear, desperation, helplessness. Then there's all these false perceptions that you develop about yourself, and what happens then is these are the symptoms of abuse, but people become the embodiment of that. Then they learn to identify that as themselves, but it's not. So can we release all of that? Because a result, disaster switches you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. I'm just going to go back to some of the comments from earlier, and then I'm going to come back. So helping each other always is the rule, and if I don't take the karmic load, I'm not taking my role in my family. So then what is your role in your family? Is the first question. Do you want to hold on to it? And what does helping look like? Could you describe that for me in like a sentence or two? I'm wondering if there's confusion between helping and saving, or helping and rescuing. And if you do not do what's expected, what happens? So first of all of the ideas and all of the definitions that you have about what helping is, they're going to be inside your unconscious mind and inside your body. Can we open up the data bank where all of that is held, and can we start to just empty out what is actually not the highest understanding of helping? Because sometimes when you're constantly taking stuff on, it's actually not helpful for them, because then they don't learn themselves and they continue in the same cycle, that it can be painful for you and your body and affect other areas of your life. So let's just empty those out. Let's cause a result, desires, which is you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely, and all of the rules that have been assigned to you in your family. Can we bring in truth and clarity on that? And can we start to let that go? And can we let go of the labels? And all of the perceived value in playing that role, can we start to move that out? Can we cast a result dissolve? Choose which is you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. Can we bring in truth and clarity in regards to what your true identity is, the way that you were created by true God source consciousness, in comparison to any roles that were handed down and assigned to you, and start to move that out? Can we cast a result dissolve? Which switches you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. So now can we start to find any vows, oaths, promises, contracts, agreements, obligations, commitments, spells, curses, or blessings to take on any karmic load? And that may have been put in a different way in terms of the wording, but we're just going to find all words used, known, unknown, conscious, unconscious. I show you how to get free from that, and I'm seeing some energetic ropes and ties. So let's just take you out of that. Show you what are the choices that you have to make differently going forward. What is it that you need to see, know, recognize, and let go of to change this? I'm seeing a lot clearing out of the leg area now and the bones in the legs. So as a result, these arches, which is you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. Okay, so helping is sacrifice, and children are meant to sacrifice for their parents. So why? And whose perception is that? Is that yours or is that someone else's? So all the perceptions and the points of view that you adopted, that were placed onto you, that were instilled into you, and all of the entrainment on every level. Because we don't come into the world believing that, we learn that somewhere, and that can be taught to us by our parents and other places, and that's taught to them. So let's start to let that go. Let's cast a resolve to Zachi, which is you from the source point on all levels of your being, age of your society. So then there's these associations that love is pain, so we're going to start to move those out. Let's cast a resolve dissolve, which switches you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. Okay, someone says, I also have a fear of being attacked by surprise, so I learn to always be ready. Okay, so there's a hypervigilance there. What does it mean to be ready and always in my light? Okay. The fear of it is something that can take us out of the light. So then if the fear were your friend and it was trying to help you and motivate you to do something, what would that be? Okay, I sort out the financial vision, support others while they make money as their strength, and am used but not appreciated or recognized or respected. Okay, tell me a little bit more about that. Okay, so another comment then is, if I step out, I'm out, love is withdrawn. So then what happens when love is withdrawn? Anything that you haven't accessed yet that you need to access in regards to this could be as a result of disaster, which is you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. So all of the loads that you have been carrying for anyone else, everything that keeps you in that role, can we start to move that out? Can we cast a result of disaster, which is you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. So here's the part that I wanted to talk to you about. So we spoke a little bit about debts. There can be different debts, okay? And we can inherit those debts, and debts can actually be placed on us. So all the debts that have been placed on you, whether they are something in the physical reality, they are something energetic, can we bring in clarity and can we start to move those out? And everything holding those in place can be cast a result as arches, which is you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. So all the ways you are carrying your mother's debts can be cast a result dissolve, which is you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. Your father's debts, cast a result dissolve, which is you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. Your siblings' debts and all of the entanglement, can we disentangle that now? As a result, which is you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. Your ancestors and your bloodline debts. So let's cut a result, which is you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. all of the karmic consequences associated with that. Can we start to move that out now? Can we cancel, resolve, dissolve, choose for, choose to from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely? So here's another thing. There are certain things that can keep us trapped in the energy of debt, trapped in the energy of absolutely anything. And a lot of it is to do with where we can have certain judgments of certain things. That can be ourselves, it can be others, they can be handed down. Or we have these certain agendas, like an unconscious agenda. So it could be to save or to fix or to get care or to get love. So they're the kind of motivations for why people do what they do. Then sometimes also what occurs is we've adopted these lies, things that are not true from different places. Or there are these things that are invented, which can be invented by our mind, or they can be things that are actually instilled into us. So we are far more than our body, and we are multidimensional beings. What most people here who are in this reality are experiencing is a very small proportion of what true reality is. Like minute, really small. But we're much, much more, and there's a lot more going on. So we are influenced in the physical largely by the spiritual. And what is showing up in the physical is part of the spiritual. And sometimes there are these other energetic influences. It can be from people or other beings. It can be from ancestral spirits. It can be many different things. And then within that, there can be these things that are inserted that can cause you to see and perceive reality in a certain way that actually it's not the truth of what it is. And these things then can influence your choices, your behaviors, your money. So what I want to do is I want to find all of those things that is keeping you trapped, encased, and in prisons, making you small, making you believe, feel, and act as though you are far less than you truly are, and not allowing you to see, know, perceive, and recognize the vastness and the strength and the power of your spirit. And I'd like to collapse it all. Cancel, resolve, dissolve. Choose what you do from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS. I'd like to collapse it all specifically in regards to your mother's debt of any kind. Revert, renounce, denounce, cancel, resolve, dissolve. Choose what you do from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. I'm getting some information on that, and I'm going to go into that in a sec, but I want to do it for your father as well. Cancel, resolve, dissolve. Choose what you do from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. I'm seeing a lot coming off, particularly around the chest area for some of you, for your ancestors, for your siblings. Revert, renounce, denounce, cancel, resolve, dissolve. Choose what you do from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. So part of what I was seeing was part of the things that keep you locked in and encased in all of this is fear of what will happen to them, that they're going to be hurt, they're going to be harmed. Can we clear all of that out, all insertions? Can we clear out all threats and any traumatic experience that you and your bloodline experienced where anybody was hurt and that was witnessed? So that was part of this, which is then this part of the motivation that keeps you doing what you're doing, which is the cause of holding on to financial debt. Even if it's energetic, it's going to affect you. It's a very conflictual energy to creating new and generating new energy, new money, new financial abundance. But it doesn't have to just be financial. It can be different types of debts. Can we revert, renounce, denounce, cancel, resolve, dissolve? Choose what you do from the source point on all levels of your being, needs of your society. Can we show you how to get free from that with ease? Revert, renounce, denounce, cancel, resolve, dissolve. Choose what you do from the source point on all levels of your being, needs of your society. I'm seeing some of this is actually false. Some of it is real things that have occurred. Some of it's actually insertions that is used to just oppress a person financially, spiritually, etc. Let's remove all of that. Let's cast a resolve, dissolve, just switches you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. So now we're just going to clear space. Clear your space, clear your body, clear thought forms. Okay, so releasing all the burdens of the debts, because the result is just switches you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. There's something else there that needed to be cleared in regards to this. Yes, so then here's the thing. There can be contracts, vows, agreements, arrangements that can be made by your mother, your father, your grandparents, your great-great-grandparents, your ancestral line, that once this contract or arrangement is made, it's actually handed down the line, and then you inherit that, and I'm seeing some of that. So bringing in truth and clarity on what that is, bringing in truth and clarity on what is required to remove that, and clearing anything else out. Because the result is just switches you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. So asking for resolution for this and freedom from this, and anything that this has allowed you to be bound to, negatively influenced by, or limited you mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially, money-wise, all of that, can we revoke, renounce, denounce, because the result is actually switches you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS. So now what we're going to do is I'm calling in a golden vortex of Christ consciousness to come into each of your spaces and to take this energy out, to load it up, and it's going to just transmute it up into sources, right? So I'm going to just go back. All right, so I want to ask another question, okay? Give me a sec. I need to plug in here. I should have more battery, but I don't. So give me a sec. It seems to drain quite fast for some reason. There we go. Okay, so then I want to just go back to what I was talking about earlier. So we were talking about trauma. What is the things that your ancestors and your family went through? What are the traumas or the abuses? I'm going to go back to some of these comments here. And if you'd like to comment, please do. And oh, it's not allowing me to go all the way back. Okay, guys, so please write again. What are the things that your ancestors went through? So war was one, okay? And I was asking, so then based on the war, based on the enslavement, this was another one that came through. Please remind me what else. So it can be things like war, it can be things like communism. You know, like that is a form of abuse on a large scale. You know, what are the other things that you went through, your ancestors went through, and what might they have, what message was sent to them about themselves, about money, and about life? Ancestral slavery trauma. So what was the message that was sent to them about themselves, about life, and about money? And then see if you can see how does that affect you in the now. Because all of this stuff does affect you. So in what ways do you feel trapped, enslaved? So let's starting to clear that out. Let's cast a resolve desire, which is you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS Chassis. So slavery then is, you know, it's like it's ownership, someone else owning you or others owning you. You know, it takes away your sovereignty, your autonomy. You become subservient. You become, the symptoms are subservient, helpless, powerless, no choice. So all the ways you are trapped in that, can we start to move that out? Can we, as a result, desire to switches you from the source point on all levels of your being, AW Society? I'm going to find those things that I talked about earlier, the judgments, the agendas, the lies and the inventions and the traumas and all the conclusions, the interpretations that came to based on slavery. And we're going to start to move that out. We're going to revert, renounce, denounce, because the result is that just switches you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. And then, when we're connected to source energy, we can ask questions. Questions engage with the law of asking you shall receive, and it opens up new pathways and possibilities. So, where there's this kind of conditioning there, a question can be like, how can I get free from this with ease? How can my ancestral lineage get free from this with ease? How can anyone in the world who is trapped in this, and there's different levels of it, it's mental, it's physical, it's psychological, it's spiritual, get free? So if everyone can ask that, it opens up possibilities for everybody. So let's ask for that now, and let's ask that possibilities are opened up. Okay, so there is some interference in the timelines which is keeping people entrapped in this. So let's start to move out what we can. Let's cause a result disaster switches you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. So it's impossible to escape, hopeless, despair, no life, no joy, and lifeless. Okay, so all of those things that are actually the feeling memory of what your ancestors and you went through, can we identify those? Can we clear those? And anything designed to keep you in a loop of those, can we remove that? Can we, as a result, desire to switches you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. So then all of the abuse based on that, and all of the abuse about your body, can we remove that? Can we remove all rights over your body, your mind, your body parts, your spirit, your soul, your consciousness? It then creates this kind of like dynamic of, someone else. If you're enslaved to someone or something else, they're kind of like a god of your reality, because they're the ones in charge. So then you learn to make choices based on them, how they're going to be, how they're going to act. You start to create your entire reality around them. So can we start to identify all the structures, the beliefs, the feelings, the thoughts, and everything else, all of the energetic structures associated with that, keeping you tied to, tethered to, and enslaved? Can we revoke it, renounce, denounce, because the result is arches, which is it from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. Just looking here, the comments here, okay? So, you're not allowed your own self, anything, and any sovereignty, okay? So now I'd like you to say, I now reclaim my sovereignty, and I now align with the truth for everyone that I am part of true God consciousness, and nobody owns me. And I now return everything that is not mine to its rightful owner with ease. And just clearing that out, revert, renounce, denounce, because the result is just wishes you from the source point on all levels of your being, AW society, and just reminding you that you are a sovereign being. So I'm being guided back now to the debt piece, okay? So there's all these debts, energetic, emotional, just all these things, financial. Then they get handed down. With that dead energy, there are dense energies. Then depending on who and what you are indebted to, it allows you to get influenced on a spiritual and an energetic level. This can be influenced by thoughts, feelings, ideas, energy in so many different ways, shapes and forms, so it leaves openings. So as I was saying, we are like multidimensional, we are spiritual beings. So here's the thing, and here's some of the things that I have been seeing with a lot of people. There are these boxes, they're spiritual, vibrational, frequency boxes that a person can be placed in And it can be to do with finances, but it can be to do with other elements of your life. And they are these constructs, and they are made of many different components. Basically, it's like an energetic prison, and you can't get out of it. You're trapped in this frequency. So the debts then leave you vulnerable to these kind of infrastructures being placed inside and around you. So I just wanted to bring that to mind. This is why it's important to clear these things out, because when you then have these structures, they can be removed on a much easier level. Looking back at some of the comments for a moment. So ancestors, war, taking money away, genocide, freedom took away. Okay, money needs to be hoarded. Okay, kept, grown in the family, and it can be taken at any moment. Okay, so I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to ask, what is the most important piece right now out of that needs to be addressed? Then I want you to say, okay, give me an image or a memory or something that I need to be aware of that is associated with this, and then tell me what you sense. Okay, is the internet cutting there, Shirley? Or Teresa? Someone says it's cutting. It's full here on my end. So all of the persecution, can we start to move that out? Cancel, resolve, dissolve, choose what you do from the source point. It's okay now. Okay, cancel, resolve, dissolve, choose what you do from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. Can we start to just clear out as much war energy? Can we cancel, resolve, dissolve, choose what you do from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. All of the division that was separated, that was created based on war. Can we cancel, resolve, dissolve, choose what you do from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. All of the ways that your ancestors were divided based on war, divided externally, and all of the prejudice and implanted prejudice and points of view and manipulation. Can we remove all of that? Can we revoke it, renounce, denounce, because resolve, desire, choose what you do from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS, and all the ways that has been made internal and that has been handed down? Can we cancel, resolve, dissolve, choose what you do from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS, all of the destruction based on war that you are carrying, and all the ways that it is affecting you in the now, and is a part of creating the energy of your future? Can we move that out? Can we cancel, resolve, dissolve, choose what you do from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. Sensing genocide peace. It's creating intense terror, and but money is taken as blood and tainted. Okay, so that's a big one. So money is taken as blood and it's tainted. Okay, so let's look at that part for a moment. So then what conclusion or decision might your ancestors have come to about money? That's the first part I want to ask you about. And is there any more about this genocide piece that comes through? So starting to clear out what needs to clear out. Cancel, resolve, desire, choose what you do upon the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. Sexual abuse through every generation of my mother's lineage. Okay. Sexual abuse is a big thing that will affect your capacity to receive money and hold on to money. It's something that really clogs up the sacral chakra. It affects your ability to receive money, whether it's sexual or non-sexual, but it's particularly true with sexual, because with any type of abuse, particularly where it's like a long-standing thing for you and on your lineage, there you come to learn that receiving is not a good thing. So then what might you have concluded about receiving based on the abuse that was experienced? Ask yourself that question. What conclusion may I have come to about receiving? And let me know what comes through. Okay, so all of the violation, can we cancel, resolve, desire, choose, which is you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. You know, with children, when they're sexually abused, there's usually a lot of grooming that happens. There's a lot of manipulation, which leaves a lot of confusion. So let's start to clear out all of the manipulation and all of the confusion. Cancel, resolve, desire, choose, which is you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. Someone says money attracts people to dominate us. Okay, what's the feeling that comes up with that feeling of being dominated? And why does it attract it? So anywhere any of you are rejecting money because there's a fear that you're going to be dominated, you're going to be controlled, you're going to be abused. Let's find everything that creates that and start to let that go. Let's cause result, desire, choose, which is from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS. I see someone says receiving is not safe. So what is it? Give me a word for it. So I'm going to play a game with you. I want you to finish the sentence. Based on the abuse, receiving is, finish the sentence for me. So then underneath that fear of being dominated can be a feeling of being powerless. Powerless to be able to handle it. So let's start to remove that. And then all of the perceptions that you have about people and money, there might be beliefs like people want, to take advantage of me. They just want me for my money, or they just want to use me, or something along those lines. So let's start to move that out. Let's cast a result, dissolve. Just switches you from the source point on all levels of your being, precisely. So one comment here is receiving is pain, it is torture, it is attack. So then what decision might you and they have made about receiving? Someone else says it's impossible to receive. So then for you, what's the best thing about not receiving? Okay. So all of these beliefs, another one, danger, they create a shield around you to stop your receiving, because receiving has not been positive. So what that does is it keeps out the intention behind it is to keep out the negative, but it also doesn't allow goodness and money to come in. So then the things underneath it need to be resolved so that money can actually flow to you easy. So let's just ask, how can you open up your money flows, and what is it that you need to let go of and bringing in truth and clarity, inviting that in and starting to move out what needs to go, because the result is actually switches you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS. So then the decision is I have to give instead of receive. Okay. So any torture that anyone did experience, sexual abuse, psychological abuse, all forms of abuse, let's start to identify that and move that out. Let's cast a result, desire, which is you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. Healing their neurological aspects. Correcting what needs to be corrected. Clearing out overlays. Anything that was placed into you based on this, anything that was agreed to escape the pain or for any other reason, can we bring in truth and clarity, and all the negative consequences of letting this go, can we move that out? Can we cast a resolve, desire, choose, which is you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. Because then if you look at it like torture, abuse and all of these things, they're often, probably always, at least most of the time, sometimes people when they abuse, they're doing it unconsciously, and it's like not intentional. There's not a conscious intent there, but some of the time there's intention. And then with torture and stuff like that, there is, and it's about controlling. It's about creating compliance and obedience. So can we start to move all of that out? Can we identify the beliefs, the feelings, the thoughts, and everything else? Can we revoke, renounce, denounce, because the result dissolve? She switches you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. Can we show you and train you, your body, your mind, your spirit, to know who is safe and what is safe? And clear everything else out. Can we cancel, resolve, desire, choose, what you see from the source point on all levels of your being, needs of precisely, and just bringing in a new idea, concept, paradigm of how it's possible to receive goodness, to receive money, to receive wealth in the highest and best way, without being abused, without being tortured, without being sacrificed in any way, without being manipulated, without being pulled down, and just clear everything else out. Let's cause a result, desire, choose, what you see from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. So all of this then creates these structures around control, needing to control what money comes in, what comes out, needing to control what you say, what you do, needing to control other aspects, because your energy and you are very powerful, and your spirit is very powerful. So a lot of your energy and your spirit is stuck in those structures, and also you're controlling what comes in and comes out to keep yourself safe. So whatever can go now, let's release that, and let's ask that as many control structures, devices, defense mechanisms are removed, and let's just clear out the pain from your hands, from your feet, from your legs, from your body, because the result is arches, which is you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. So all of these things then, you know, like if the ancestors have gone through torture, you know, that is going to affect them. Then they have children, and some of the things that they learn, they teach to their children, you know, how to be in the world. You know, they may pass on this sense of doom, and the world is not safe, for example, you know. You need to stay small to stay safe. So it gets handed down, and then it gets played out with us, and then it's there on an energetic level. So it all affects us. So we're just going to clear out as much as can go now. Because the result is arches, which is you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. We are also just going to clear the energy fields. We're going to clear your money, because the result is arches, which is you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. All devices, control devices on your money, as many that can go now, and everything that keeps it in place, can we let it go? Can we revoke, renounce, denounce, because the result is arches, which is you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. I'm going to ask for a healing on the brain to integrate the different aspects of the brain, asking to raise your vibration, instilling the energy of joy, of possibility, of lightness, and clearing out whatever else can go now. We're also asking that your light body, your energy, all that you are, that you're all sealed up in wholeness, in oneness, in light, in truth, and clearing everything else out. Revoke, renounce, denounce, because the result is arches, which is you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS Tracy. Alright guys, so thank you very much for joining. Let me know how you're doing, please. So for those of you who joined a bit late, please do go back and listen to the replay. And for those of you who are here all the time, you can listen again and again, and it will bring more levels of clearing. So do drink water, because it's going to help with the detoxing process, and be aware of any insights that come through. This can, you know, be giving you guidance about moving forward. You know, sometimes you'll have information come through in your dreams that can be indicative of what is clearing, or what needs to be cleared on a deeper level. So guys, I just wanted to also let you know that we do have an upcoming course based on, you know, partly based on this theme, which is called Dissolving the Vibrational Boxes of Financial Abuse. So we're really looking at these boxes associated with abuse and the way that it limits you and your finances. We look at the different types of abuse that we can experience. Some of it is financial, some of it is non-financial, and we're looking at the way that this affects you. We're clearing this out with the belief system. We're going to be doing a lot of work on the sacral chakra, the womb area as well. And there are other energetic components that I'm going to add to this, that I was really guided to do so based on some of the things that I've been seeing that need to be removed in people here in the plant medicine retreat, where when we have certain unresolved traumas, pains that are our own, that are ancestrals, it creates this vulnerability that connects into the sexual energy, which can allow your energy to be took, drained, used in ways that would not be in alignment with your conscious choice, most likely. And most people aren't going to be aware that this is happening, but what they will notice is the symptoms of it. And the symptoms of it is lack of energy, feeling drained, money coming in but going out just as quick, not being able to hold on to money, financial issues showing up, and many other things. It can also be physical, can manifest as physical issues. So I'm going to actually address that part as well. Okay, so I've shared that is this Sunday, by the way. It is online, 10 a.m. London time to 4 p.m. It is an Alchemize course. We're going to get through a lot of clearing in this. If you would like facilitation, you can ask for facilitation. If you don't want to have direct facilitation, you can just listen in and get the clearings. And also there is a replay available, so if you would like to just catch the replay, you can, or if you can only attend part of it, you can be present for that time and then catch up. So we do have that, and there is an early bird rate on that, which is, it's just about to end as well. Okay guys, so let me know how you are doing. You're welcome, guys. Going to the pool, Teresa. Cool. I will be joining you in a moment. Okay guys, have a great day or night wherever you are. Thank you very much for joining, and bye bye for now.